A couple of weeks ago, I made a video on reverse dieting. I talked about how important diet breaks are when it comes to losing fat because A, it keeps you sane, and B, it prevents your metabolism from slowing down because the human body is an adaptation machine. I just want to dive into that topic a little bit more in this video to give you all the tools you need in order to succeed. These are the exact same tips that I give to all my students, and they've all gotten to see some amazing results. So you know it works. Before we get started, give this video a like, subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell to get notified every time I post a new video every week. If you watched my video a couple of weeks ago, I was on a diet break. I just ate at my maintenance calories, and I feel like this is such an underrated topic that rarely gets talked about in the fitness industry because we're always just told to be on a calorie deficit. It basically becomes a competition of how little you can eat. But if you want long-term sustainable fat loss and keep your sanity throughout your journey, you need to actively introduce diet breaks where you're just eating at maintenance calories for a week or two, then go back to being on a calorie deficit afterwards. Again, I talk about this extensively, whether it's time for you to take a diet break in my other videos, so make sure you check that out afterwards. But in short, if you're always just at a deficit for an extended period of time, your body, being the adaptation machine that it is, will adapt to that because it wants to survive, and your original calorie deficit number will become your new maintenance calories, which means you have to keep cutting even more calories in order to keep losing weight. This is how people end up eating 1,000 calories, they're barely eating anything, and they stop losing weight. That just sounds awful and extremely unhealthy. Or you lose weight, but you keep putting back on those same 5 to 10 pounds you've been trying to get rid of. Truth be told, that was me for the longest time. I was stuck in this dieting mindset. I was scared of food, and I was scared to go back up to maintenance because I was so worried that I was gonna put back all the weight I worked so hard to lose. And I know I'm not alone on that, but here's the thing. The definition of maintenance calories is right in the name. It's the amount of calories you need to eat in order to maintain your current weight. I know, right? Mind-blowing stuff. You go on a calorie deficit, eating the right kind of foods, obviously, to keep your hormones moderated to lose fat. So if you go back up to maintenance, you'll maintain your current weight on your maintenance calories. You might gain a little bit of water weight when you eat at maintenance if you eat a little bit more carbs, for example, because usually the more carbs you eat, the more water weight your body will hold on to. You're also going to be eating a little bit more food just by weight. But that's not the end of the world. That's not a cause for panic. You can let a little bit of increase in your total weight mess with your head. This is why I always say that the scale can be a very powerful accountability tool, but it also has the potential to throw some people off. For example, I'm not a big guy. When I train CrossFit and Muay Thai the same day, sometimes I'll wake up the following morning and I'll be 4 pounds lighter because I basically drained all the glycogen stores in my body from training. When I refuel and rehydrate, my weight goes up a little bit. Not a big deal. There's a difference between weight gain just from daily normal fluctuations to actual body fat gain. You're not gonna put back all the fat you've lost when you're on a diet break. That's just not how it works. So you need a little perspective here. When you go on these diet breaks, you can't let your fat phobia stop you from doing this. Because here's the thing, that fear in itself is actually what's gonna cause you to gain fat. When you start to get stressed about this, that's when your body actually starts to hold on to fat. And I've made tons of videos about why chronic stress is a major killer of your weight loss progress. So don't stress about it. But I'm a numbers guy, so let's look at some hypothetical numbers. Let's say your maintenance calories is 2,000 calories. You want to lose fat, so you cut that down to 1,600 calories. You go on a 20% deficit, which is a pretty typical number. But you're a scaredy cat like me before. You've got the right intention. You think that if you just keep on a calorie deficit, you're actually doubling down on your effort. So you don't take diet breaks, you don't go back up to maintenance. You just stay at 1,600 calories. Give this enough time. The body, being the adaptation machine that it is, starts to think that you're going through a state of famine and it doesn't want to die. So it starts to adjust your metabolism and lower it to 1,600 calories. 1,600 calories now becomes your new maintenance calories. And this is more commonly known as hitting the dreaded weight loss plateau. This is why every single diet works at the beginning. They all do. As long as you're on a calorie deficit, you're gonna lose weight at the beginning. No question about it. That is until your body adapts to it. The problem is you still have fat to lose and you're scared of losing any progress you've made even though you're stuck. You're now on a plateau. You don't reverse diet back up to 2,000 calories. Instead, you do what most people do, my former self included. You just cut even more calories. You cut down to 1,300 calories, for example. So you start losing weight again, albeit a little bit slower this time, until your body adapts again. You plateau at 1,300 100 calories. Are you starting to see a trend here? Because now you're even more scared of gaining fat. So you don't go back up to maintenance to keep your metabolism high. You keep doing this over and over until you hit a point where you're maintaining weight at 1,000 calories. But you're miserable and hungry all the time because 1,000 calories is not a lot of food. You have no energy because your body is literally in starvation mode. It's trying to conserve as much energy as it can because you've given it the signal that you're going through a state of famine. You're irritable, you have these crazy mood swings, you notice your hair start to fall off, and if you're a girl, you stop getting your period. This is why you've completely tanked your metabolism. And there's usually just one outcome for a lot of people here. You gain all the fat back, and then some. And nothing illustrates this more than the contestants from The Biggest Loser. If you've ever seen the show, the contestants get put on these extreme diets and extreme exercise routines, and they lose weight at the beginning. But they're extremely miserable, some of them are crying. But here's the catch. If you look at the studies done on the contestants a few years after the show, almost all of them have gained back the weight they initially lost. Notice how there's never any reunion show? But the most telling stat is they're still actually dieting. It's just that they've completely tanked their metabolism in the process. Are you catching my drift here? But that's what typically happens when you just have this diet mentality 24/7. You used to maintain your weight at 2,000 calories, but you perpetually diet, and now you're maintaining weight at 1,000 calories. You just trashed your metabolism. You don't have any more wiggle room. Where are you gonna go from there? How are you gonna lose the fat that you're starting to regain because you're working with a measly 1,000 calorie metabolism? So if you're like the old me and you're scared of doing this, that's okay. It's perfectly normal. I just want you to take a nice deep breath, and I want you to think long term, because the short term day-to-day perspective is where the fear comes from. Your weight could easily fluctuate by 4 pounds daily depending on a lot of factors like your activity and your daily food intake. Like I said earlier, I could lose 4 pounds overnight from a hard day's worth of training. I could also be up 2 to 3 pounds if I eat a lot of carbs. Big deal. Whatever. You've put on 3 weeks of effort, let's say, to lose 4 pounds of fat. And now you're scared of putting it all back on during the 1 week where you're eating at maintenance calories. But that's extremely short-sighted because you're only focusing on that 1 week where you're not making any progress. But if you just expand your horizon a little bit, I want you to look at your magic crystal ball and think 6 months or even a year into the future. What's more scary than being a couple of pounds heavier on the scale, gaining a little bit of water weight, or even a little bit of fat if you go back to maintenance? What's more scary is the idea of completely tanking your metabolism and the misery that comes with it. The idea that you're gonna regain all the fat you've lost because eating 1,000 calories is just not sustainable. You can only do that for so long. You're bound to start eating more than 1,000 calories so you don't die. Your body will start sending really strong hunger signals for you to eat. And you can only fight your hunger hormones for so long. You're literally going against your physiology, and your physiology will always win. You're gonna start regaining all the fat you've lost. You're back to square one. Only this time you're running on a much lower metabolism, and it's gonna be so much harder for you to start losing fat again. That's the real scary part if you ask me. Imagine putting in all that work, you cut your calories so low, and you lose weight at the beginning. You lose weight even though you're miserable doing it, but you suck it up because nothing tastes better than skinny feels, right? But you're only there for a hot minute. You peak and then you come crashing down. You put in all that work only for it to be temporary, and you end up in a worse position than what you started with. That's what's really scary if you ask me. That's why you want to play the long game and lose fat in a much more sustainable way. This is why I'm never impressed whenever I see an 8-week magical transformation. Not to take anything away from that individual, but like I said, you can get there by eating 1,000 calories of celery sticks, salad, and highly processed low-calorie food. No, show me how you look 8 months later, because that usually tells a better story whether what you're doing is sustainable or not. Now, when you're on a diet break, should you change your diet when you go back up to maintenance? No, your diet shouldn't change too much other than the amount of calories you're eating, but you can give yourself a little bit more room for flexibility. However, this does not give you the green light to start eating a bunch of junk food. But let's say I go to my parents' house and my mom offers me her homemade cheesecake, which is to die for. Guess what? I'm gonna eat it. It also depends on your goals in general. For example, I usually don't have cravings for certain things because I enjoy my food in general when I'm on a deficit. But if I've been craving something in particular, that's when I'm gonna take advantage of the added flexibility that a diet break brings. Sometimes you just have to get that craving out of your system, as long as it doesn't trigger you to start going off completely. My sister wanted to hang out the other day and suggested we go for sushi, and since I'm on a diet break, I didn't even have to think twice because I know it's just a one-off and I'm back back to eating my regular maintenance food the next day. Also, I love sushi. I'll never say no to sushi. I've also been training twice a day a lot lately, and going on a diet break for a week will definitely help with my recovery. The sweet spot here is you want to be on a deficit long enough for it to be effective so you can actually lose some body fat, but you want to get out of it before your metabolism starts to adapt and starts slowing down due to the lack of food coming in. And usually the body adapts to this deficit stimulus in about 4 weeks, which means ideally you want to go on a diet where you're on a calorie deficit for 2 to 3 weeks and then spend 1 week at maintenance, and then you just want to cycle through that. If you want to be on the aggressive side of things, go 3 on and 1 off. Maybe you want to be on the conservative side of things, so you just go 2 on and 1 off. I like doing 3 to 1 because it's just convenient. Maybe at the beginning of the month, you go back up to maintenance for a week, then just be on a deficit for the rest of the month. And once you're done losing fat, when you reach your target weight, it just makes it so much easier to maintain your new weight because you were always going back up to maintenance and you didn't let your metabolism adapt to your cutting calories. Your maintenance is still going to be the hypothetical 2,000 calories you started with. You're leaner, but you're still able to eat the same amount of calories you started with. That's the dream. But like I said with my reverse dieting video, this will only work if you're doing some form of resistance training. There's no free lunch here. By the way, this is also assuming that you've lost less than 50 pounds. If you lost more than that, that's awesome, but you're gonna wanna start adjusting your maintenance calories. If you went from 300 pounds to 200 pounds, for example, you don't wanna go back up to your maintenance calories when you were 300 pounds. You're just gonna get fat again. You wanna adjust to the maintenance calories of a 200-pound person. The most important thing here is to be mindful when you're on a diet break. You don't want it to turn to opposite sides of the extreme, where you feel extremely deprived when you're dieting, then you just go off and you go on the seafood diet, you see food, you eat it. When you're on these diet breaks, the truth is usually somewhere in between. This is why I'm a big advocate of optional weekly cheat meals or treat meals when you're dieting, just to get people out of this super restrictive mindset where you have to constantly fight those urges. Delayed gratification is the name of the game. And if you do feel compelled to just go off, then it might be a good time to take a step back and reevaluate your relationship with food. Rather than using your diet break as an excuse to eat all the things, that defeats the purpose of doing it to begin with. Is this process gonna be a little bit slower? Maybe, but the results are gonna be so much more permanent at the end of the day. Isn't that the ultimate goal? The next question then becomes, how are you actually supposed to eat if you want to lose weight? Because here's the thing, 80% of your body composition is determined by your diet. You can't just freestyle this part. Do you have a proven plan that you can follow? To help you with that, I want to give you a free copy of my Lean Body Blueprint. This is how I melted all the fat around my stomach without depriving myself of my favorite foods or wasting hours at the gym. It's a simple 4-step process specifically designed for busy professionals, and it's the exact same blueprint that I teach to all my private coaching clients, and they've all gone to see some amazing results. If you want to be the next success story, then download your free copy of the Lean Body Blueprint right now. There's going to be a link somewhere at the top here or in the description box. Just click on it, type in your email, and I'll send it to you right away. All right, that's all I've got. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and share it with your friends. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I post a new video every week. And hey, leave a comment below if you have any questions about this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. First, a high five.